everyone, I am RajaRao Pagidipalli and I warmly welcome you to my podcast. Thank you for giving me your time. Whenever I sit to speak with you, I imagine that we are not separated by microphones, phones or screens. I imagine we are sitting together. We are sitting together in a hall or maybe under a big tree in our village like in olden days, when elders used to tell our stories and young people used to listen, young people used to learn and young people used to discuss. Today's talk is close to my heart. It is about India, our greatness, our struggles, our relations with our neighbors and most importantly, our relations with the powerful country like the United States of America. The main theme is simple. Why India should not fight with the USA. But before we reach that point, let us slowly walk through the history, through our achievements, through our challenges, and through the present day situations that brought us here. Friends, let me begin with a question. Do you believe India is a great nation? I am sure your answer is yes. But why? Let us remind ourselves. India is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. While many civilizations disappeared, India survived. Do you know why? Because India always adapted. India always adapted to change. From the Indus Valley civilization, where cities had drainage and town planning, that took 5,000 years. Then from there to the Vedic age, where knowledge was passed through hymns, India always valued learning. From Chanakya's Ardhashastra, which guided government, which guided governance, which guided diplomacy. From Ardhashastra to the Gupta period. In this period, when Aryabhatta, he gave us the concept of zero. Our land, it has always contributed to the progress of humanity. When the world was fighting wars of conquest, India was sending out ideas of peace. India was sending out ideas of compassion. Buddhism, Jainism, they spread from India to Asia because they taught non-violence and mindfulness. Even yoga, which is so popular across the world today, it was born in India. They were all born in India as a way to unite body, mind and soul. Yoga. It was born here to unite the body, mind and soul. India is not just a land of religions, it is the land of philosophies where hundreds of schools of thought debated openly. And then we had kings, and then we had rulers who built magnificent structures, magnificent empires. Ashoka the Great, who turned from a conqueror to a preacher of peace. He turned from conqueror to a preacher of peace. Akbar, who tried to build unity among religions. Shivaji, who showed the strength of courage and strategy. Rani Lakshmibai, who became a symbol of resistance. Mahatma Gandhi, who shook the British Empire with truth and non-violence. And Baba Saheb Ambedkar, who gave us the constitution, which is the backbone of our democracy. Friends, the greatness of India is not only in its past. Even today, look around. Our space missions, they reach the moon and Mars. Our doctors perform complex surgeries at affordable cost. Our engineers, they power Silicon Valley in the USA. Our soldiers, they stand at icy borders and they stand at deserts because they wanted to protect us. Our farmers, they feed 1.4 billion people and our young minds are winning. They are winning medals in science, medals in sports, and medals in arts. This is New India, a country of immense talent and unshakable spirit. But my dear friends, greatness also comes with challenges. Let us not close our eyes to the difficulties we face. India is a nation. India is a nation in a tough neighborhood. On one side we have China. You all remember the Galwan Valley clash in 2020, where our brave soldiers sacrificed their lives. It reminded us that China is not just a competitor in trade, but also a threat on the border. On the other side, we have Pakistan. For decades, Pakistan has exported terrorism. To answer this, India carried out strong actions. To answer the terrorism, India carried out strong actions, including Operation Sindoor, which happened recently. Why? To strike at terrorist camps. These operations, they show our courage, but they also show how lonely India sometimes becomes in this fight. Even small nations like Maldives, where India gave aid and support for years, they are now tilting towards China. It is painful to watch because India has always acted as a big brother in South Asia, yet we are losing influence. And while we are busy managing these challenges, a new blow has come from across the ocean. Donald Trump, in the form of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has put 50% tariffs on Indian goods. Imagine 50%. No other major economy has been targeted like this. These tariffs, they make our goods expensive in the US market. That means fewer exports, fewer jobs, less growth. So let us see in simple terms. If a shirt from India cost 100 rupees earlier in America, now it costs 150 rupees because of tariffs. Who will buy it? They will choose cheaper options. The same happens with our medicine, IT services, and many other products. This is like an invisible war, but it is as dangerous as a military war because it hurts our economy, it hurts our jobs, and it hurts our families. The sad part is that India is not handling diplomacy strongly enough. When we carried out Operation Sindoor, we expected the world to join hands against terrorism. But we found ourselves almost alone on international platforms. The same is happening in trade. Instead of building coalitions and alliances, we are facing the United States one-on-one. And let me tell you honestly, fighting the US directly is like a small farmer fighting a giant landlord without support from other villages. The result is known in advance. Now, let us pause. Let us think. What if India really fights with the US? What will happen? Let's see, militarily. The US is far stronger. Its defense budget is 10 times to ours. It has stealth aircrafts, nuclear submarines, and global bases. Economically, the US is India's largest export market. If trade breaks, our IT companies in Hyderabad, Bengaluru, and Pune, they all suffer. Millions of jobs will vanish. Technologically, most of our software, cloud services, and semiconductors, they come from US companies. If US cut ties with us, our digital economy will slow down. Even in education, more than 300,000 Indian students, they study in the US every year. Their future will be in danger suddenly. And let us not forget the 5.2 million Indian origin people living in America. They may face visa issues, job losses, and discrimination if relations worsen. So fighting with the US is not just about tanks and missiles. It affects every Indian family in some way. Now, let me share you a small story. Imagine two shopkeepers in a village. One sells rice, the other sells vegetables. Sometimes they quarrel over space or customers, but if they stop talking, if they start fighting, both will lose. Because the rice seller also needs vegetables and the vegetable seller also needs rice. The villagers will suffer and outsiders will take advantage of this fight. The wiser choice is cooperation, not the conflict. India and the US, they are like these two shopkeepers. We may have quarrels over tariffs or policies, but in the end, both need each other. Friends, the answer is not fighting. The answer is in smart diplomacy. India should avoid unnecessary retaliation. Instead, we should talk directly. We should negotiate and we should find some common ground. At the same time, we should diversify our trade, build ties with Europe, Asia, and Africa, and strengthen our domestic industries through Atmanirbhar Bharat. This way, we reduce dependence, but we also keep our partnerships alive. Let me also tell you, India's youth has a great role here. The youth are the new diplomats of India. Wherever they work, be it in IT companies, in research labs, in universities, or in startups, our youngsters they are representing our great nation India. Their skills, their innovation, and their honesty, it will speak louder than any official statement. The stronger our youngsters become, the stronger India's position in the world will be. If we look back at our journey since the 1990s, when India opened its economy to the world, one truth becomes clear. America became our biggest partner in technology and services. And over the years, this partnership has given India opportunities, jobs, and growth. But at the same time, it has also created a kind of over-dependence where we sometimes feel as if we are standing on borrowed crutches instead of building our own strong legs. Think about it. Every time we use a smartphone, order a cab through an app, or store our photos in the cloud, somewhere in the background, American companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, or Apple, they are playing a key role. This is not just a coincidence. It is because India's technology ecosystem has grown under the shadow of the United States. For example, in semiconductors and electronics, we still don't have our own big factories for advanced chips. We rely on US companies like Intel, Qualcomm for designs and equipment. Even India's ambitious production liquid schemes aimed at making India 1 trillion electronics hub by 2030. They are tied to US supply chains. If tomorrow these supply chains are disturbed, the entire program may face delays. In research and innovation, again in research and innovation, America plays a vital role. Over 3 lakh Indian students are studying in US universities, most of them in science, technology, and engineering. They bring back knowledge, they bring back skills, they bring back connections. Many of them even build startups in India like Zomato or Paytm. But the seed of innovation often begins with the US education or US collaboration. Major breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and 5G standards, they are still dominated by American firms, and we are trying to catch up. Even our digital backbone like cloud services, it is run mostly by US companies. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud control more than 70% of India's cloud market. It is run mostly by US companies. Without these US companies, much of India's online economy, from startups to banks, they would simply not function. Now, let us talk about software services, the pride of India. Our IT industry today is worth nearly $280 billion, and more than half of that revenue comes from the United States. Companies like Infosys, Wipro, and TCS, they depend heavily on American clients in banking, healthcare, and retail. We see India has become the back office of America. India has become the back office of America, providing software, customer support, and even artificial intelligence development at a fraction of the cost. This has given jobs to millions of Indians. In fact, over 5 million directly work in this sector, but it also makes us vulnerable. If US companies cut back on outsourcing, or if tariffs go higher, lakhs of jobs in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai, they could be at risk. And don't forget the visa dependence. Every year, more than 2 lakh Indians go to the US under the H1B visa program. They work there, they send remittances and bring knowledge back. If the visa rules become stricter, it will not only affect families, but also they slow down the flow of innovation into India. Even in modern services like fintech, digital payments, and business process outsourcing, we rely on US investments and technologies. Many of our unicorns, the billion-dollar startups, they are funded by American venture capitalists. Even our proud UPI system, it uses global technology standards influenced by US firms. So what happens if the US decides to cut off or restrict these services? This is not a fantasy. It is already happening. Under the Donald Trump administration, tariffs on Indian goods, they have been raised up to 50%. If this extends to services, the effect will be huge. Experts say that if America pulls back, India could lose between 100 and $150 billion annually. Our GDP growth could fall by 1 to 2%. Lakhs of young professionals, they could lose their jobs, especially in high jobs. Inflation could rise, the rupee could weaken, and the dreams of many middle class families, they could be shaken. This over dependence, it also makes us weaker in negotiations. Look at the current situation. America is putting tariffs, yet India has very few alternatives. Europe is still growing slowly. China is a competitor, and Gulf countries are now they are opening up their markets. So, if we don't diversify, we may face a crisis where America's policies decide India's future. So, my dear friends, this is not about rejecting America. because partnership is important. Partnership is important, but it is about creating a balance. If India wants to be a 30 trillion economy, if India wants to be a $30 trillion economy by 2047, as our leaders are envisioning, if we want to truly be a Vishwaguru, as our media is envisioning, we cannot afford to depend on one country for our backbone. We need to stand on our feet with confidence and with strength. So, dear friends, let us remember this lesson. India's greatness lies not in picking fights, but in leading with wisdom. Our history shows us that we were strongest when we united people, not when we isolated ourselves. So today, the US is not just a competitor, it can also be a partner. Together, India and US, they can balance. Our two countries together, they can balance China, they can drive technology, and these two countries can bring stability to the world. So, let me conclude here. My message is simple. India should not fight with the USA. War will bring loss, but cooperation will bring growth. India should protect its dignity. Yes, India should protect its dignity, but also act with patience and strategy. Because a strong India, a strong US, working these strong countries together, they can create a better world for everyone. Thank you, my dear friends, for listening to me on this podcast. Your time, your attention, they are very precious to me. I will meet you again with more discussion, more stories, and more ideas. Until then, stay safe, stay proud, and keep believing in India. Yours, RajaRao Pagidipalli.